Hey there, everyone. Meteorologist Rebecca Sweet here. We are joined with another fun edition of our 10 Weather Chat, and we are joined with Gracie Chambers. Now, Gracie, I'm so excited to have you here. Not only does she do my hair, but you're a dear friend of mine, and you have to tell me, so how long have you been doing hair?
I've been doing hair for 5 years now.
Wow. And
like this August.
5 years this August. And you own your own salon now, your own little boutique. Tell me more about that.
I started out at a salon called Hairpiece on Kingston Park in Bearden. I worked there for about 4 years, and now I've been in a salon suite all by myself with my friend Sarah Jane. Shout out.
Yay!
For a year now, so.
It's so fun. It's a beautiful salon. Where are y'all located at?
We are located at 5204 Kingston Park. We're inside Salon Ivory.
Okay. It's a beautiful salon. And, every time I go in there and I talk to Gracie, I'm, like, picking her brain. Or she's actually, like, informing me about my hair and the things that are happening with my hair. So when I saw you last time, Gracie, I brought in my daughter Aria, and we were kind of diving into hair care going into the summer and into the winter months. And so let's kind of go right into the first question that I have, because it's been so humid lately.
Mm-hmm.
Like super humid. You just had your bridal party this last weekend. And so for ladies, and we have William on here as well. William, if you have any hair questions, you let us know as well.
My hair is pretty easy to maintain.
William does have the best hair.
The afro.
Okay, so Gracie, every time I come into your hair salon, I always come in and I have all of these questions about hair, or at least I think you kind of bring them up to me and I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. So going into the summer season, we have been dealing a lot with a humidity. Dew points have been in the 70s. It's just been like super sticky outside. For women, William, any of us who might have some hair questions, what would you say would be your best advice to try and like get some of the frizz down? What kind of products would you suggest?
I would suggest a good anti-humidity, anti-frizz, leave-in treatment. The Color Wow Dream Coat is really good, especially if you have thick hair. I believe it's the Extra Dream Coat. That one's good. And then if you style your hair, a good anti-humidity like finisher is the Kenra. I think it's anti-humidity frizz control.
Yeah.
That's really good, and a good oil also.
Ooh, okay.
Or deep conditioning treatment whenever you're in the shower.
Do you do those all at the same time?
I usually will always dry my hair with, and even clients too, the Dream Coat. And then especially if they get styled and they're going to be like in a wedding, for example, or if they want their hair to stay really well, I'll finish it. I'll sometimes almost layer it with a good hairspray. Not anything too heavy, because if you go heavy, it almost feels sticky. And then do the anti-frizz, anti-humidity, because it's almost like a shield.
Yeah.
And then I might do that 1 or 2 times.
Okay. So you said, let me just kind of recap, because I'm making mental notes in my head for what I need to get and what I need to get William for Christmas. So an oil. Do you have a suggestion on an oil?
I really like the Lonza, especially for me and you, because we do highlights.
Yeah.
I like the Lonza Neem Seed Plant Oil. That's really good, but a good like day-to-day for just anyone. Let's see, I like the Wella one. Okay. That one's really good. It's lightweight. But if you're really needing something a little bit more conditioning that's going to moisturize your hair, you might want to look into something a little bit heavier. Okay,
so that's going to be more so for like humidity, like an oil. You said some kind of like conditioning treatment.
Yeah, a good mask makes a big difference, because it keeps the humidity well, it just keeps your hair, moisturized.
Okay, so a hair mask. Yes. I have never heard of that.
I use one on you every time.
Wait, you do?
Yes.
Wait, so what is a hair mask? In my mind, I picture like a face mask.
No, it's literally just a deep conditioning treatment.
Okay.
I feel like every hairline has one.
Yeah.
At the salon, I've been using the Wella. There's like 3 different ones that I've switched between.
Okay.
Let's see.
William, do you do a hair mask? Do they wash your hair when you get your hair done?
I wash my hair before I get my hair.
Okay, but they don't do it at the barbershop?
It's a typical like dude barbershop where, you ever see the movie Barbershop? It's just like that.
Okay.
That's the type of barbershop.
Well, that's a bummer. Do you ever get a head massage?
It's not a bummer. It's a great atmosphere. It's a
okay, so it's probably lively and like a very...
Yeah, 1,000%. Shout out to Pike Barbershop in Bearden.
Okay. Okay, so I guess William has no idea what a hair mask is. And I had no idea that I was even getting a hair mask in my hair.
Yes.
So that's helpful, you said, when it comes to the humidity. Because I feel like when I leave and I get my hair done, I'm not going to lie, I don't want to wash it for like a week because I always feel like it feels so smooth. I never have any issues. And then as soon as I wash my hair for the first time, it immediately goes back to the way I don't want it.
Yes.
And that just has to deal with all of the products that you use, right?
Yeah, well, the deep conditioning masks, they also like help seal your cuticle down, so it just keeps everything nice and smooth. There's some like Redken. They have ones that keep the pH where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
And it'll just kind of bring it back down. So sometimes, like if you get Lautner, for example, it like opens your hair cuticles up. So whenever you use something that brings your hair back down to the correct pH, it seals it back. So everything feels nice and smooth.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, so Gracie, I'm going to have to do a picture after this and like display every product so I can make sure we get it right. So that is something dealing with humidity. Now on the opposite spectrum, do you think that, people suffer when it's like super dry outside in the winter?
Yeah.
Like what can happen to your hair then?
I mean, your hair, I feel like it's just brittle. At that point, definitely a deep conditioning mask. A good oil is definitely needed because your hair, just like our skin, you know how dry your skin gets, and that could be from the heat.
Yeah.
It's just the air's so dry.
Yeah. Do you notice that? Like, do you
Yes.
notice a difference when you
Yes.
have like well-conditioned hair versus not well-conditioned
Yes.
hair? So
Yeah.
what does that lead to? Like broken ends or what?
Yeah.
Like how can someone at home, if they're touching their hair?
Like whenever you look at your hair, and sometimes it's just all, like if you hold your hair up and it all looks like it's sprouted everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that. Whenever it's dry, you don't really like want it to stand straight up, but you want it to have, it's a little limp, I guess is a good way to describe it.
So what do you suggest for somebody? So like me, I probably have not, I need to get my ends cut next time. So what would you say? What would you say you would suggest to somebody who maybe has a little bit of like some dryness, or would you like suggest getting a trim, or what would you think?
A dusting is what I tell everybody. It makes everyone feel better so it doesn't freak them out. A dusting works, it goes a long way. I know it scares a lot of people because I know people get scissor happy. It's easy too, but definitely just like an oil, a day-to-day oil. I oil my hair every night with or without extensions in. So
okay, interesting. I'm glad you brought up the idea of extensions. So most extensions, are those real hair?
Yeah.
They are. So do extensions, you think, feel the impacts of different kinds of like weather elements just as much as normal hair?
Yes, because I mean they're not connected to our scalp, so our scalp isn't able to naturally oil produce like our actual hair would.
Yeah.
So you have to oil them and condition them really well.
Okay, and then what are some tips? Because, Aria, my daughter who's 6, she came in to your salon and I didn't even notice it. And you were like, oh, Aria, you kind of have a little bit of some green in your hair. And I was like, wait, I didn't even notice that. So maybe for some people who go to the pool during the summer, I know that the summer's kind of wrapping up, but what would you do to help fight maybe some I wouldn't even say like sun damage or chlorine damage, but like would you suggest people keep their hair out of the water or wash it right away or what?
Of course, keeping it out of any chlorine or lake water. Of course, it's going to be better if you don't, but it's impossible.
Yeah.
Especially if you have kids or if you want to go tubing or a water park. You can't not get your hair wet.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is I tell everyone, I'm like, get a little travel size leave-in conditioner and keep that in your purse or your beach bag, pool bag. And as silly as it sounds, keep like a little spray bottle of just clean water. So you do clean water first and then leave a little bit of some leave-in in your hair and just kind of keep it out of the way. And that kind of like seals it up a little bit too. So all that chlorine and chemicals and everything, or whatever water you're in, your hair's not gonna slurp up basically.
Yeah. I know. So then you won't get green hair.
Yes, green hair, that's from the chlorine. It has a chemical reaction with copper.
Yeah.
So, and that can be anywhere. That could just be your pool water, or it could just be where...
Does that typically impact like just blondes, or do you think it would impact somebody like William as well who has some darker hair?
Typically blondes do, but that's just because it reflects everything. Because our hair has no melanin in it when you're lighter.
Okay.
So and our hair is more porous also. So
yeah. So I have a question. I'm looking over at William right now, Gracie, because you and I talk so much about like hair, extension hair. Is there anything you would recommend for somebody with facial hair? You and I don't suffer with that, but William, I wouldn't even say suffer. I'm like, we don't suffer from facial hair. But would you like do the same thing that you would do for your hair on top of your head as you would do for your facial hair?
Well, the men's, they've got like a good beard oil. That goes a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes a big difference.
William, do you use a beard oil?
I don't use a beard oil. I probably should.
Yeah.
Though,
you need to start conditioning that thing.
I condition it with hair. My barber said use hair conditioner. So
Yeah, that works.
Do you
good.
wash it just like you would wash your hair?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Is that interesting?
No, I think that is really interesting.
I'm just doing my barber.
I mean, you're looking at two
said,
blondes over here that really never get a chance to talk about washing facial hair.
Yeah.
So, that's an interesting concept.
Shout out to Max, my barber, for giving me the tips.
On that.
Do you have a beard brush?
I don't have. I use the same pick I use for my hair for my beard.
Do you suggest that, Gracie? So, like when it comes to like the summer or winter seasons, do you think hair gets tangled up more?
Yes.
Which one's worse, summer or winter?
Honestly, summer, just because, pool stuff, you can't run from even goggles, or as silly as it is, your hair getting caught at the neck of your bathing suit.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times, but if you have fine hair, that's the worst, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so moral of the story, and the reason why I wanted to bring Gracie on is I was like, do you think the weather impacts your hair?
Yes, 100%.
It does, and do you think it's for the better or for the worse? And which one's the better season, you think, for hair enthusiasts?
I would probably say, honestly, summer. I feel like, because when you're at the wintertime, everything is dry. Your hair, your skin, your lips are chapped. You can't run from it. At least in the summer, you can kind of help it not be so bad.
Yeah. And also, okay, so this is another conversation. I'll bring this as my last point. Would you recommend, if there's a time or option, to have people take a break with their hair, like not use the straightener, not use the curling iron? We work in the TV industry, so we're constantly like applying products to our hair, heat sources and stuff like that. True or false? Are those bad for your hair? Would you recommend if people can take a break from them to do so? Like, what does it do to your hair?
Well, over time, of course, it's better if you can take a break. Like on a vacation, I hardly ever style my hair. I just kind of let it do its thing.
Yeah.
Like I know with you on maternity leave, you was able to just chill with your hair, not do heat every day. And you said you felt a difference. So, it does make a difference in the long run.
Yeah.
Especially if you might lack in just oil reproduction, which could be anything.
Yeah.
So.
And you also told me that heat can sometimes even change the color of your hair.
Yeah, if you're blonde, for example, if you got that straightener or curling iron on 450, if you get toner especially, it's just gonna make your hair brassy.
Yeah.
Because it essentially like burns it out.
And my hair always turns brassy, William, if you didn't know that. And I hate it. Gracie hears me complain about it all the time. Hey, Gracie, we appreciate you totally coming on here. This was so fun. If you have any questions, or if people have questions and they're watching this and maybe they're like, oh, Rebecca didn't ask this, how can people follow you or follow your salon or get more information?
I have Instagram. It's Hair by Gracie Chambers. The salon, like the suite that I'm in, it's Salon Ivory, but the personal one is the Beauty Space Collections. Awesome. And on Facebook, of course, too.
Thanks, Gracie. Thanks, everyone.